Jody Vance. Of course, this is the series where we are opening up the world of investing and markets to more than just the fancy, expensive suits and pocket square set, which is fine. Expensive suits and pocket squares are great, but they're not a prerequisite for finding your portion of the market that excites you, you've done your homework on, and perhaps might even hit a company that is just at the precipice of growth and long-term growth, good investing. That's what we're looking for here on First Glance with Jody Vance. We have Gary Yeoman, who is the CEO of Voxtur Analytics Corp. Really happy to have you here, Gary. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm extremely fascinated by what you're bringing to the table here, because there are very few things more complicated than real estate. So can you give just a little bit of an overview as to what your company sort of mission is?
Well, sure. Everybody knows real estate. Usually most people have been involved somewhere or another, whether they bought their own home, their condo, or their apartment, or their family has. And so effectively what we do right now is if you take a look at real estate in the most simplistic way, you buy a house, we facilitate the closing. You need title insurance on the house, we facilitate that. You need a valuation for mortgage purposes, that's what we're experts in. But what we do in a large way is that there's 140 million residential properties in the United States. There's 14 to 15 million in Canada. And we provide analytics. We have data on every property. And so we do predictive analytics. We can tell you what your value of the house is worth. We can tell you whether your property taxes are too high or too low. We can provide all of that information to all the people, the appraisers that are out there valuing the house. So what we do is we have digitized everything. We make everything available on the web. We've created a blockchain so that all of the data is safe and it allows banking to be done quicker. If you take a look at a simple situation now where if someone wants to mortgage on the house, they go to the bank. It takes 2 weeks and $600 later by the time it gets back to say, well, your house is worth this much, so we're going to give you this much for a mortgage. Right. What we've done is we can now facilitate that from the bank because of the analytics and technology we have, or you can do it for half the price in 36 hours.
What?
Yeah. So what's really, really important, Jody, is that when you buy your first house, and everyone that's looking at it, it's so important that you find out yesterday whether you can get a mortgage on it and for how much. So what we do now is we have that ability to be able to go in through our data and our analytics. And I've been around this space for a long time. And I like to say that I was 40, but I'm not. And
Go with 42. Go with 42.
Yeah, okay. But I built the Altus Group from my house, and that's now a $2 billion company. I started Real Matters, and that's now a $2 billion company. And I think that the company that we have now, and I've never been more enthused or excited, I think this is going to be bigger than both of them put together. And it's because we're doing things so simple. Everyone talks about technology, but really, what are we doing? We're taking data and we're allowing it to be put in the most simplistic form, and we're getting it to you quicker and cheaper and more accurate. And so we look after everybody in that sense.
I have to make sure that I tell people who you are and what your ticker stock symbol is, because I just got goosebumps, I don't know, 15 times on how much stress that would have alleviated for me over the process. Lucky enough to be able to purchase a home. I'm not saying, I'm coming from a position of, wow, I'm really grateful, but those were stressful. The title search, the mortgage, and being at the mercy of the big institutions that are built to make money off of you, like going to the bank and saying, please, sir, may I have some more, is daunting. If I could go in with the knowledge of, I know what my worth is, I know what the assessed value is, I know what this is going to cost me, I know what this is going to look like, I know what I can afford. Now let's talk turkey. That's like next level. So Voxtur Analytics Corp, VOXTUR Analytics Corp, if you're looking up the name, but the stock symbol is VXTR, and Gary Yeoman is the CEO. Now let's talk about your team. It's star-studded.
It really is. And because I've been around a long time, I really wanted to demonstrate to everybody that it's so important that you're dealing with a seasoned team that's very experienced. We've got Bruce Witherow, who was the former CEO of Freddie Mac, and also the CEO at Morgan Stanley.
Right.
We have Joe Murin, who ran and basically was appointed by Obama and by Bush, running the Federal Housing Authority, ran Ginnie Mae, which is, the veterans and VA and that, and now runs his own mortgage firm as well. They do about 5,000 transactions. We have Mike Harris, who I think he was probably premier when you were in Ontario. So Mike is looking after us from a governmental standpoint. And we have Jim Kelsey, who, when I was at Altus, I mean, they made tons of money off of me, but he ran all of the banking for the Bank of Montreal. Yeah. And it's really, really important for the people that may look to invest in us. The Bank of Montreal are not only providing us with our debt and all of our operating lines, but they became equity investors.
Oh.
They put $1 million into the last time we did it, and they're going to put, a lot more money into us as owners of our company. That's how much they think. So it's really important to know that people that looking at us are in safe hands. We got seasoned people that, don't joke around. We know that there's nothing more important than our shareholders. And so I wanted to make sure that we were surrounded by the best people. And, what more better testimony can you get than the Bank of Montreal? I think that we are the only small cap company in North America where the bank has invested in them, both in equity as well as debt.
And I go back to my shot at big banks, because a lot of people go to their bank and feel intimidated by the people on the other side of the logo. If there is an investment by the bank in your company, that then is something that the layperson can invest in also. It feels almost like you're on the same team. There's almost like an ethics piece to this, with all the names that you rattled off with those all-star credentials. I mean, it sounded to my ear like a bunch of people that are doing this for the love of doing it.
Listen, this is a small company now, but I'm not going to lie to you. I know it's going to be a very big company and a very successful company. And it's because I've been around the horn, and they have as well. And so they see the potential. Right. So beauty is doing things in a simplistic way, even though people hear technology and analytics. Really what it is, what's more simple than grading a value from a house? And quite frankly, math and science don't lie. So if you can do it with analytics, then you get a more predictive, trustworthy valuation. So
it's a bit of an obscure sector, like AI right now. It's such a growth situation. Like, how do you get traction for your, well, you know what, I'm going to answer my own question. The heritage, the credibility that comes with all of the names that you just informed us that are on the team. I mean, the fact that you have had such success in other endeavors, and that you said off the top of this interview that you're most excited of anything you've ever done about this venture.
I am.
Speaks volumes.
I am, but it's the truth. And I listen, I'm a small town guy, grew up in a small town. Values are important to me, and there's nothing more important than shareholders. And there's nothing even more important when I see that first time shareholder coming in and putting their $5,000 down, which is more like, I have two daughters that put investments in my company. I looked at it the other day. One has 20,000 shares, one has 15. I know what that meant to them to put money, and aside from, how much I care about them, I know that there's a whole bunch of, girls like and people like my daughters that put 5,000, 10,000. I don't want to let them down.
Right. The scrape
really
together
don't.
That much.
And we are not like a small cap company where you see a lot of times on the Vancouver Exchange where they're pumped and down. No, this is real. This is a real company. We have real assets. We have profits, right? We have over 80 million in sales right now. We have, 15 million of profit. But this is going to be a big company built on the foundation of good ethics, good fundamentals, seasoned, experienced, ethical people.
I love that story of your daughters. That really sinks in with me, because it's the hard-earned, scraped together, I'm going to trust my money in this endeavor, prepared to lose it if I might, because that's what investing in markets can be at any time. But when you talk about the pump and dump or the longevity, I mean, that's what at EQUITY.GURU and on this program that we are hoping to focus on companies that are on a mission for longevity and return on investment, and on a trajectory that is something that could be special. I mean, this sounds to my ear, my novice ear, to be one of those things. It's as simple as you can possibly imagine. And yet with just that piece of the AI puzzle to come into play and streamlining what has been so complex from the beginning of time in purchasing and navigating real estate, this is really something else. How did it begin for you? Where did you come up with this idea, or whose idea was it?
Well, yeah, it's mostly what it is right now was mine, but I spent 10 years where I built 40 million square feet for Frank Stronach at Magna. I ran his real estate empire for 10 years. I started Altus Group, and that became, so it's kind of a whole chronology of events that have led me to say, listen, now is about technology. You can't do it with people. And the other really important thing, Jody, I think that should resonate for your investors is that management owns over 60% of the company. Like, I personally put in $2.5 million of my own money. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that whatever we do, we're aligned with the shareholders.
Right.
This is not one of these things where I come to you and say, please put your money in. By the way, I don't have any.
Right.
And I'll tell you that every share that I have, every one,
Yeah.
I have not been given one share. I paid for it from my after-tax dollars. I have not been given one share. I bought every one of them with my own money after tax. And so that's how much I believe. That's how much I believe in the. But that's what you have to do.
Yeah. No, but I respect
right?
that, Gary. I do.
Yeah.
I do. If you're tuning in and thinking, what is this company I need to know? It's Voxtur Analytics Corp. VXTR is the stock symbol. VXTR. Gary Yeoman is with us. You can Google Gary and learn a lot about the man at the helm here. I love how humble you are when I ask whose idea is it, and you're like, well, I guess it's mine. You're allowed to own that. You're allowed to own coming up with, like, I've had to jump through these hoops so many times that I found a solution to minimizing those hoops down to maybe just one. A Voxtur hoop. I love that. So let's talk about when the investor wants to find out more than what they can garner here in just watching this 15 minutes.
You know, we have a web. Yeah, we have a website, you know, all the connections on there. We have an investor relations site if they want to get a hold of me. As Asan knows, I mean, I'm one of these guys that is up 5 o'clock in the morning, and I don't go to bed till midnight. And so I just happen to have my phone beside me. And so, you know, it doesn't really matter how big or small, because anyone that puts money into my company, you know, they're worth the time and the effort. So it's just really, really easy. It really is. And our company is brand new. We changed our name. We used to be called I Look About, but Voxtur is Icelandic for growth. And I can't think of a more appropriate name, because I bought 30 businesses when I was at Altus, ranging from like 3 million to $150 million. We're on that same trajectory. As long as the businesses that we buy are real estate, technology, as long as they're accretive to our company, it means that I can buy them at 5 times, they come into my company at 10 times. That's important. Yeah. And as long as they have synergies. So I'll give you a very quick example. I bought a little company. They do sketching. You know, you go to a house and you draw a little. So we've got mobile apps you can do with your finger now that calculates the square footage of that. They've made $1 million a year in 3 of sales. We bought them in October. Because we now mesh them in with other things we do, we've already got $7 million of new orders within the first 3 months, which basically has tripled their business.
Wow.
In a year. And that's been done in 3 months. So that's what you do is, like, you know, they happen to have 2,200 clients. There's only 3,300 counties in the US. 100 of them are their clients. We need business in all those counties. So now they're drawing us in for other sites. So it's really not that complex. It's just easier, a little bit harder to execute. That's all.
Before I let you go, I want one more question, because I'm just dying to know. Do you remember your first ever investment?
Oh my gosh, I sure do. It was, I know the guy's name is Delaney, and he opened up and started building a power system in Cuba. All right, and I can't remember the company, but the funny thing is I was 20 years old. I got my first job in the government, and I sat beside a guy. He was 60, And he taught me three things. He taught me how to make wine.
I like
He
him
taught
already.
me how to make beer. I mean, he was just, and he was a premier investor. So he taught me about the stock market, long, shorts, investing in stocks, things to look for, management teams. But it was so insightful, right? And it just got my juice. And I didn't have any money back then. I didn't grow up with anything other than I had happiness, right? And a lovely wife and beautiful family now. So I mean, what more does a guy really need, right? And so then it was just kind of, I was on my little journey. I knew I didn't want to spend my life in the government as much as there was good people there. I had my other dreams, worked for Magna, saw all these guys making money. I said, like, screw this. I need to own my own business, right?
Nice.
And so then that's became Altus, right? And then Altus, $2 billion later, and we did now Real Matters, same thing. And now, like, as much as you'd think that I've had this full life, I don't think I've been more excited about anything, because it's nice to wake up in the morning and to be relevant, right?
Yeah,
It's
excited.
nice to wake up and have a purpose and have an excitement. And, I'm not being able to play hockey and ball anymore. So, do something else, get out the golf sticks. Unfortunately, I'm not in Vancouver, so
Right.
I gotta wait for a while. But anyways, it's no, we're happy. We got a really good company.
Good.
I know it's in safe hands for the people that want to come in. And if they don't, just follow us anyways, because I think they'll be very intrigued about our progress.
Yeah, so if you don't necessarily invest, put a little marker on this and stay up to speed on VXTR, the stock symbol, VXTR, Voxtur Analytics Corp. Always a pleasure to hang out with Gary Yeoman. Let's do this again. Bring me updates, won't you?
I will. And thanks very much for having me.
Cheers.
Yeah, bye-bye now. Thank you.